Carl Sagan could not have back then.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Even as these grainy satellite images released today by the Chinese government.
Again, the Malaysia flight too was one shot at China saying knock it up.
Why shoot it down though if it's not hostile?
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Why the Americans would?
They leave distance annihilated.
This country is very powerful. Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
OMG, chat. OMG. Guys, y'all get that? Do y'all get that hantavirus vaccine? I didn't get it, chat. I didn't get that hantavirus vaccine, and this is what happened to me. I'm just a yokel that got turned into a hentai. Senpai is super jackarinoed, chat. Okay, well, there we go, guys. No, by the way, if you didn't understand that reference, if you're too old for that reference, that's a reference to their new attempt to pass some new stupid virus thing that nobody's paying any attention to. And so, you know, just in good conscience, I had to go ahead and make a huge joke out of it, which is what we did. So, guys, let's get to the topic. Let's get right to it. Disclosure Day. The UFO files have been released. First and foremost, let me move this, fix this real quick. There we go. Guys, we have to thank President Trump. Thank you, President Trump, for the UFO files. You did what nobody before you could do. Definitely not Obama. Definitely not Hillary Clinton. You alone were able to pull it off. All you libtards out there, put some respect on this man's name. He gave you the UFO files. He gave you the aliens you so desperately craved. Boom. You have it. No, in all reality, it was a nothing burger. But wait, what did Ashton say was going to happen? It's exactly what I said. And I told you all, we are anti-disclosure. You aren't getting any aliens. Yeah, every alien that exists out there, you aren't getting them. We have to keep the aliens safe, chat. Did you see any aliens anywhere in any of those files? No. No aliens. There was no aliens, but there was videos. Videos of orbs and things flying around in the sky. And I told you we weren't going to get any aliens, but you were going to see little plasma orbs flying around the sky. And that's what we got. That's what we got. So I think everybody can take a little bit of a victory on this one. The debunkers can say, well, there's nothing really there. What are you supposed to say here? They're kind of right, at least on what was released right now. The people that are saying there's UFOs, they can take a pretty big victory lap. The government's had a whole bunch of crap about it that they have not been releasing and been public about. Why? I don't know. That's the question. And then from our perspective, we can look at this as a first step towards actual disclosure. This thing isn't about aliens, never has been. It's been about physics that has been kept suppressed from humans that leads to effects that we see as alien, that we see as magical, that we see as impossible, because we've trapped our minds in a perspective of the universe that's not accurate. And that is the intersection of the physics with the deception, the suppression of this information to us. That's what the UFO topic is ultimately all about. So first things first, we need to be thanking President Trump. And, you know, I've made this official now. I'm 100% a Rubio supporter. Marco Rubio is my guy. Don't come at me about JD Vance. Don't come at me about anybody else. I'm voting for Marco Rubio. Simple as that. When you want to know why is Ashton voting for Marco Rubio? This shouldn't even have to be a question. Why is Ashton? Because he knows about the teleportation orb stuff. One huge aspect of what you're going to learn here is what are the implications of this? Good time to plug that very good probability that I will debate Andrew Wilson. I have a very high level of respect for him. I think he's the #1 debater on the earth right now. I don't even think it's really that close. And he is the perfect person to debate these topics on. I think we agree actually on a lot, but I think we can still have a really good debate that will inform the public about these topics, because one of the big questions I want to explore with him is what are the implications of this technology existing? Space-time manipulation, 5-dimensional physics. Well, you saw it. Discombobulator, ghost murmur, teleporting a Boeing 777. You can imagine the implications. So why is this a political issue? You better believe I don't want the libtards, the woke people, to have this, or anybody with low IQ, or anybody who's like a bigot and racist and just thinks we have to exterminate big groups of people. In fact, I can think of a lot of restrictions of people that I do not want to have this technology. In fact, you can make a strong argument that we shouldn't reveal this technology at all. You can make a really strong argument, and we're going to monetize that argument. Just kidding. But, so I think that will be a great discussion. And this is why I support Marco Rubio. So you shouldn't even have to ask, why do I support Marco Rubio? Because if you ask me, who do I trust with this information, this technology, this weapon? It's a very short list of people. And most of them are already in office right now. So that's why I support Marco Rubio 100%. And JD Vance is an okay guy, but I just don't trust him with this level of responsibility. Simple as that. Simple as that. I'm a one-issue voter, chat. One-issue voter, and that issue is 0 point energy. No one can touch me on it. Okay, let's dig into some of this. I think I've got the whole thing up here. First of all, I just want to admire this more. Beautiful artwork, chat. I want you to think about something here. Thought experiment. I spent like 5 minutes of AI computing power to turn a real photo into this. Could have been solving problems in the universe. And I said, no, screw that. Instead, just make this meme of a large-chested anime woman saying, show me your orbs. Senpai is super jacked. And I just think, are we going to make it? That might be the ultimate question. The big question is, are we going to make it as a species in general? I don't know. Okay. All seriousness now, though, guys. You guys want to know how all this stuff works, and I want to tell you. But before we get to that, let's get on some people's takes. Number one, this is probably the most incredible reaction. And we're going to look at some kind of videos and stuff they released as well. Tom DeLonge actually weighed in. I kind of called him out earlier yesterday, being like, hey, does anyone have his contact information? Because I think the bigger picture is starting to reveal itself here. This technology is, at least we've figured it out, or it may just be all human technology. And there's been a deep state of people that have been using it in covert, potentially illegal ways. And now they're starting to get a little scared. They're starting to get scared that what they thought they were all good and everything was legal and no one would ever rat them out. Now they're getting a little worried because their adversaries got into power. And now their adversaries have access to these classified files about things that they did while they were in power. And they can be exposed. And now they're worried. Now they're a little worried. And I have a feeling that Tom DeLonge and General McCaslin and many of Tom DeLonge's advisors, if not all of them, all share, let's just call it, a certain political perspective that I don't necessarily align with. And so I like to think that it's interesting to see their reaction. And so Ariel, who I like on the internet, he kind of called me out and said, Ashton, don't reach out to Tom DeLonge. You know, he's with the Podesta, Epstein, Hillary Clinton group. And I said, what better place to go to if you want to get answers? I want to get answers to what's going on. And these people have the answers. These are the people that are, at least know the people at the highest levels who are responsible for these kinds of operations. So I want to get the answers from the front, from the people straight from the source. Anyway, here we go. That's enough wasting time.
You know, we just had a big drop of a bunch of government documents on unidentified aerial phenomena today. Just wanted to put out my own kind of perspective on this. I think that this is a tremendous thing that's happening. I think for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, the government is now formally doing stuff. They're formally investigating it, formally reviewing it, formally putting it out. Especially that one of the videos looks like a North Star. I think that's one of the most shocking things I've seen in a long time. We've never seen a UAP actually look like that. But I'm just really excited. I'm really proud. And I think that the net that they are casting right now, they're really getting things done. And the government's taking this seriously. And I'm still very connected to the subject and to a lot of people working on this. And I feel really good about it. I'm really optimistic that this is going to lead to more investigations, to more review. We're never going to get the perfect thing just presented to us on a plate. But this is the process that happens over years, where they keep digging and digging and digging, and they get to the truth of it all. And I don't know. I'm just really, really stoked. I'm really, really proud that the country's leading like this in this subject area, right on. All right.
Chat, am I the only one getting fake vibes from this? I'm just not getting the right vibe. This is really cool, man. Oh, sweet. Good job. So no notes. Great works. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. It's wait, weren't you the guys started To the Stars Academy and you were gonna monetize all this UFO technology and you had all these advisors and there's a general missing that was your main guy. It's how is he not addressing the fact that his main advisor general is just missing off the face of the earth right now? he's not saying anything about it. What are we doing here? This is almost better than me getting an interview with him. This is crazy. Man, chat, we're gonna really, really enjoy this, chat. I'm really, really, really gonna enjoy this. And I'm glad that you're here with me, that we get to enjoy this together. Because a lot of these people are just going to be straight up exposed, either for covering stuff up or for having no idea what's going on. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Okay. So his reaction's a little odd, but in general, I think that the actual sentiment is accurate, is that this at least is a movement in the right direction. But here's something that I'm getting from this is I don't think a lot of these people have any idea what's actually going on. When some of them say, we don't know what it is, I think a lot of them really don't. And normally I would have said that's impossible. I would have said that's impossible. They can't know. How can they not know that we've got this plasma technology and what have you? Well, number one, nobody reads. Nobody reads. Number two, people are easily brainwashed. Easily brainwashed. Like, trivially so. Like with COVID really showed us how people will just take top-down orders. So you could imagine a scenario in which Tom DeLonge or maybe any of these other guys, somebody just tells them something like, hey, we don't know what it is, but it uses this magical wormhole technology. And they'll just take that. That information will just be immediately absorbed and they won't ask any questions. It really makes me wonder. Makes me wonder about the human condition in general. And this is why I really want to talk to Andrew Wilson, because not just, talking about UFOs and aliens. And I don't think it would be even fair to debate MH370. That's like inviting him over and having him play magic cards against me. It's just not really fair, But I want to explore these tougher questions, and I want to explore the religious angle as well, because that's one of the big aspects that's been discussed. So if you're new, I came in here and I basically found a wedge. The wedge was all these disclosure people were all woke left-wingers, all connected to the Hillary Clintons, the Obamas, etc. And I said, wait, what about this other side, this whole other 50% of America, the right wing, the side that I personally align with? And the view of these left-wingers was, oh, those people are just dumb hicks who, when you tell them that the aliens exist, it's going to blow up their brains because their gods can't exist if aliens exist. Which honestly is ridiculous because it doesn't even make sense. Here we go. Doesn't even make any sense. It's like the more people that I've spoken to, most people have been conservative. And all of them have found a way to easily incorporate aliens into their ethos. The concern I have when I read out and I look around, especially on like Anna Polina Luna. Let me pull up hers. She has a really good example today. Let me see which account she put it on. I can't remember. I think it's her official account. Polina Luna. Sorry, one sec. This one, right? Okay, I don't know where she put it, but so Anna Polina Luna posted Ezekiel's wheel. And she's making references to the demons and the Bible. And I have to say, guys, I'm a little worried that people are going to try to turn this into some weird demon ghost shit. Just like the Tim Dillon quote. The only alien conspiracy is dumb, just like the ghost conspiracy, right? We got to keep this physical. We got to keep this actually using the laws of physics, even if we are going to modify those laws of physics. Which means these plasma orbs flying around are not demons. They're not coming from the depths of hell. They're not angels coming from the pearly gates. It's just electromagnetism. So, in a sense, don't at me. It does prove there is a God, in my opinion. In my opinion, it does prove there is a God. I think I do have this clip. I'm trying to remember which clips I saved. Hold on. Is this one? Okay, no, I don't have that one either. So Tim Burchett was speaking to somebody else, and he was saying that he believes that this... Oh, I do have it. Never mind. I think I do have it. Hold on. Here we go. I just remembered. So let's go to this clip. Tim Burchett on Joe Rogan.
Or what it did, and he said they understood how to turn it on They didn't exactly understand how it worked or what it did, and they wanted him to try to figure it out.
Those guys that came to my house, they talked about that and how something could travel at these light years, and one of them was an astrophysicist, and I don't really understand astrophysics, but it took me 6 years to get out of UT, and I didn't drink or smoke pot. So I'm just going to elaborate a little bit if that's all right with you, brother. Have a degree in shop, technological and adult education. I can fix your lawnmower. I can burn your house down if you need it wired, but I'll always have a job. So you got something vibrating over here, and then instantly it's over here.
Right.
And that's sort of the way they explained it, put it on my level to understand it. And I mean, to me, it proves that there's a God. I mean, because it's an instantaneous travel that we don't quite comprehend.
Most amazing thing I've ever heard Tim Burchett say. Boom. There it is. Were you listening to what he just said right there? Sometimes I actually wonder if people are really conscious on this planet, because that clip right there just lays it out. Tim Burchett's a congressman. He got a home briefing. Astrophysicists from the government came to his home and told him how the UFOs fly around. And they said the way it works is it's vibrating over here, and then suddenly it's over here. That's his layman's terms of explaining how it was explained to him. Which, number one, who are these astrophysicists? Was one of their names Hal Puthoff? I would bet really a lot of money. I would bet a lot of money that one of those astrophysicists' names is Hal Puthoff that visited him. Why? Because you can take Hal Puthoff's paper that I believe he was nominated for a Nobel Prize, Space-Time Metric Engineering, Polarizable Vacuum, and basically point anywhere on it on any page, and I can explain it to you. Because that's how the UFOs are flying. That's how the UFOs are manipulating space-time to move. So number one, the thing people should be taking from that is astrophysicists came to visit the congressman. Thank you for the raid, by the way, Woke and Walked. Appreciate you, brother. Astrophysicists came to visit the Congressman Burchett and explained to him, and the way they explained to him is within a resonance way. More like how bees light up and start levitating. He says they start vibrating, and then suddenly it appears over here. Almost like a quantum tunneling effect. Well, I'm here to tell you that's the secret. That's exactly the thing. Do you see them saying that on the news? Do you see them saying that? Any of these disclosure people saying that? No. Because that's the weaponization. That's the classified physics. And you would say, well, Ashton, how is that real? How is it real that you can teleport and just vibrate and just appear over here? It's actually very simple. That's the scary part. There's one more extra dimension. We don't perceive it, but it's all around us. We're in a medium. We're not in an empty void. We're in space-time as a medium, just like air is a medium, just like water is a medium. And that allows us to do this. That allows us to do this. Make a bridge. Once we understand that medium, we can make a bridge between any 2 points. And that, my friends, is what we refer to as a wormhole. So, you want me to replay that clip? Okay, we'll play that clip one more time. And I got another follow-up clip too. So listen again.
He said they understood how to turn it on. They didn't exactly understand how it worked or what it did, and they wanted him to try to figure it out.
Those guys that came to my house, they talked about that and how something could travel at these light years, and one of them was an astrophysicist, and I don't really understand astrophysics, but it took me 6 years to get out of UT, and I didn't drink or smoke pot. So I'm just going to elaborate a little bit if that's all right with you, brother. Have a degree in shop, technological and adult education. I can fix your lawnmower. I can burn your house down if you need it wired, but I'll always have a job. So you got something vibrating over here, and then instantly it's over here.
Right.
And that's sort of the way they explained it, put it on my level to understand it. And I mean, to me, it proves that there's a God. I mean, because it's an instantaneous travel that we don't quite comprehend.
That last part, too. It proves to me there's a God. Do you ever wonder? This is what the left-wingers don't understand, what they can't understand, is that the more you understand about science, truly understand science, and science is the study of observable reality, you realize there must be a creator. There must be. When you realize there's an extra dimension that we can't even perceive around us, we can only interact with electromagnetically, you realize there must be, this is a matrix, this is a construct. Every construct must have a creator. So just like Tim Burchett put it, he said, you're telling me something can disappear over here and reappear over here. To me, that's proof of God. That is the best argument. If you are a devout religious person out there, then there you go. You've just been handed your narrative. Here you go. Ashton gave you a little, have a helping. Have a second helping if you need it. There you go. There's your justification. When the libtards come at you and say, it proves there's no God because the aliens are real. The reptilians are real. Therefore, your God isn't real either anymore. You just say, nah, how did your stupid ass aliens even get here? They used quantum entanglement, dum-dum. Quantum entanglement proves God's real. Ooh, reverse that game right back on them. See, chat, I'm multi-talented. I can give you propaganda, arguments if you want them. I can explain to you how the universe and physics work. I can help you out with your political takes. Just anything you want. I can even help you build fusion reactors. Believe it or not. True story. Absolutely true. Now, here is another little meme on that I just think is important that you probably will see me share in the very near future. Oops. Because I am concerned with the narrative. I'm concerned with the narrative on this one. And I'm concerned with the people that think like this. Everything I don't understand is a demon. Now, I'm going to give the libtards a bonus. This is a libtard meme, I think. Maybe. And it's kind of true. Some people look at everything, UFOs, science, evolution, Ouija boards. I mean, I don't know how Ouija boards fits in here because Ouija boards is definitely demonic. Definitely demonic. But the rest of them, questionable, right? So let's not be simple-minded. Let's be high IQ, not low IQ primitives that just look at everything and just assume, oh, that's a demon, that's an angel. Let's be a little bit smarter than the average bear. And let's realize that physics exists, science exists, nuclear weapons exist. And all of our Department of Energy labs, almost all of them, are working on plasma physics. Plasma physics. Okay, let's go to some more of this, the clip. So Tim Burchett, he's most likely referencing Hal Puthoff. Now, here's another quick, rare clip of Tim Burchett that I went back and pulled a few days ago from his 2023 UFO hearing. It was in June of 2023.
Also would like to enter in, I understand now that this is unclassified and it's public record, but as we all know, that's sometimes difficult for the public to get a hold of. A report, Defense Intelligence reference documents, advanced space propulsion based on vacuum, space-time metric engineering, some light reading for some of our members.
Without objection.
Thank you.
Space-time metric engineering. That is literally Hal Puthoff's DIRD, Defense Intelligence Reference Document. Like the Defense Intelligence Reference Document that you can find me talking about those documents on chat. I'm going to do it to you. Libtard Henpeck. Get used to it till you start wising up. The DIRDs that I talk about on every single podcast I ever go on, the classified scientific papers that nobody reads, people are like, hey, if they had all this science, Why aren't there any papers about it? You're like these 38 scientific papers. Chat, I'm going to show you something right now. This book right here, Faster Than Light. It's called Faster Than Light, Warp Drive and the Quantum Vacuum Power. It's written by a guy named Herman David Froning. You want to see some crazy shit? You want to see some straight up crazy shit? Let me go to the back here. There's a huge list of appendixes on it. What does that say, chat? Advanced space propulsion based on vacuum space-time metric engineering. Next page, Hal Puthoff. That's his dirt. They literally just put his dirt in the appendix of this book. Because it turns out I was reading the book and the whole book is about those orbs. The whole book is about air breathing magnetohydrodynamics manipulating space-time. I couldn't even believe it. In fact, as I was reading this, going through the chapters, I think David Froning had to be one of the people, along with Frank Mead, that built the orbs that we are looking at in the MH370 videos. Like, these are literally specifically the guys that, came up with the idea, that put it into action and got it built. And it may even happened after they retired, in some cases after they died. So I want to read something to you. I'm going to read The Afterword by Thomas Vallone, who is the editor of this book. Okay. This is honestly looking through this. Guys, we are so over the target. David Froning's a ghost online, doesn't even exist online, basically. Why? Because he's just some black project engineer. It's got some 50-year legendary experience in aerospace that nobody knows about. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, 1 sec. Okay, here we go, guys. Get ready to clip this shit. Upon completing this book, the reader may agree with me that David Froning is a genius. He collaborated with all the right experts to give us the best theoretical foundation, experimental proof of principle, and computer simulations that one man can do in one lifetime. With that said, my function as an editor was add all captions for all figures, pull together a final chapter which was partially written, and assemble an appendix full of journal articles that were not too redundant. Since the page count of the book was not an issue with the publisher, we felt a bit of overlap in the appendix would not be bad if a new perspective or explanation was presented in a later article to clarify what may have been difficult to understand in the chapters or previous article. After all, this book is really for future space-worthy generations who may be more familiar with advanced aerospace propulsion and will be eager to implement these concepts for governments or private industry ready to go to the stars, and thereby need to understand everything that Froning has discovered. An important point to make is the comparison of toroidal drag reduction and polarizable modulation with a laser, either one or both aimed forward for the craft. Wow. One more quote out here. Incidentally, this is a quote I think this is a quote from David Froning. Incidentally, the laser and laser light craft shown in this addendum PowerPoint night photo is Dr. Franklin Mead's light craft and laser at White Sands. So, wow. You ask me what is really going on in this UFO thing? We haven't even looked at the files yet. I don't even need to look at the files. I don't need any more files to look at. My files are right here. Actually, Frontiers of Propulsion Science. If you want to understand what's really going on, read these books. These books explain to you the physics that they've already figured out. And even reading Franklin Mead, even David Froning's chapters about this, one of the things that stuck out to me the most was that he understood the implications. He wasn't sure if this technology, if we were worthy or ready for this technology. He was afraid that what if a civilization like us starts expanding? We're going to start avataring planets everywhere, stealing their unobtainium, whatever else the hell we got to do. This is one of the debate topics I want to talk to Andrew Wilson about, which is A, if we can travel amongst the stars, should we go just rape all the other planets? Should we, and if so, if we can travel amongst the stars, I mean, then how come the aliens haven't already taken care of us? What's the deal? What's going on? And I think David Froning was concerned about these questions as well. So this, to me, I think confirms my hypothesis in terms of why have these guys not been more vocal about revealing this truth? Why is he just writing some book that basically nobody had read before I bring this up on a big live stream? Because he was writing this book for future generations. This book wasn't meant for us. This book was meant for the future. It was a time capsule. He knew when he was writing this that nobody was going to believe this or care. And that to me is just mind-blowing, because that's how I kind of look at it. When you say, Ashton, how come you are antagonistic towards Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster, or AJ of the Y-Files? Because I don't give a shit, man. I don't care if this gets disclosed faster. You know how like I'm even torn morally myself about this, in terms of like, is accelerating this even the right thing, or should we just be living as stupid cave people for as long as we can? Not sure. And I think these guys also struggle with that moral quandary themselves. It's a political issue. It's a political question. And so one more personal thing I want to bring up, get it all up in my field. I got some big feels tonight, chat. Big feels. Something Dave Rossi told me one of the first times we spoke years ago still kind of haunts me, especially after I see stuff about, working with Gary Stevenson and Eric Davis. I'm like, he told me something about some kind of spiritual connection to all of this that's going on. Because these connections, like finding out, for example, that in this book, David Froning explains warp travel, explains warp drive and wormholes exactly the same way that I figured it out independently. Now, granted, it's all based on the same science, underlying science and physics. But the specific thing he says is there's no going back in time. This book specifically lays out you can't go back in time when you go through a wormhole, which is the specific thing that I've laid out on I don't know how many live streams and podcasts, a lot, and said this is the one thing I'm the most worried about being wrong about. So there it is. David Froning laying out that exact same thing. And it starts to make me even wonder, like, shit, are we manifesting this reality in real time collectively right now? You could almost start to convince me. If there's some weird guru people out there, you might be able to convince me that either A, I'm a time traveler in the future. Maybe I did send the letter to myself, chat. The letter to Ashton Forbes comes from future Ashton. I just didn't know it. It's possible. Or you might be able to convince me that the spirit of Thomas Bearden has taken over my body, chat. Don't worry about those dates and ages and all that shit. That's too complicated. His spirit took over my body. Now the spirit of Tom Bearden. Tom Bearden's vengeance, chat. Tom Bearden's vengeance is coming for you. I like that. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Got in my feels there for a moment. Let's get back to this. Get this thing back on track. But anyway, buy this book. Holy shit, buy this book. Oh, and since we're just pushing stuff, Ether Synth by JK Philly Fan has hit the iPhone, or what is it? Whatever, App Store. Ether Synth is a music app. He's not paying me to support it. I just really like JK Philly Fan, and the app looks really cool, and he spent a lot of time on it. So I think you guys should check it out if you're into that stuff. If you need a music app, it's probably gonna be really good. And then this book, my Michael Brody here, MH370 Solved. I looked through it a little bit, and it's more than just MH370. He goes into some other conspiracies as well in terms of how they're all kind of connected together. So if you want an overview of, what has happened in the case, and specifically what has happened related to, into the investigation, he's got QR codes and stuff in here that you can link to. So you can check this book out if you're interested in finding that stuff out. I don't profit off any of that stuff at all. Haven't sold any of that. None of this is in my personal name. The first content that I will be dropping will be that scientific paper that I mentioned that I've been updating. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go back to it. Let's get back to the sauce, chat. Okay. Oh, one more quick thing. Apologies. Lots of little updates. Got some collabs coming up too. Not going to announce exactly what they are because everybody crashes out. In fact, the only reason why I posted about Andrew Wilson is because I want all the debunkers can't even undo it now. They probably already messaged him. And you're going to see this. They'll have messaged him. Ashton's a hoaxer. He's a grifter. Here's this 200, 300-page PDF. It's probably like 600 pages by now. 600-page PDF by Ashton's the most worst person in the world, and you shouldn't talk to him. I just want him to experience it. So that's the reason why I retweeted that post. Anyway, guys, don't ask me why these glamour responses are from December and I'm only posting them now. I'm just a little lazy. It is what it is. But don't worry. These I can't contest, but I will be contesting the next batch of rejections that I'm going to get. But just take a look at these FOIA responses to the CIA. And I was requesting analytics, status reports, and maintenance records regarding Gorgon stair pods under full or partial surveillance by the CIA for year 2014. So all I wanted was the maintenance records for the Gorgon stair pods for 2014. Very specific request. Can I get those? Nope. Can't get any maintenance requests. How about all documentation between Sierra Nevada and the CIA on development, production, testing, and rollout of Gorgon stair pods for imaging for covert operations between 2012 and 2015? That one, I'm not surprised it didn't get rejected. I've learned a lot more about being more specific. So anyway, I'm going to stack these super high because I know those videos are real, and I know they're hiding what they did to that plane, and I know they've got space-time manipulation technology. So basically, we're going to build this bitch up like a house of cards until it basically crumbles under its own weight. That's the plan. Okay. What else we got? Okay, where's some UFO videos? I want some UFO videos. Okay. Let's see. What did she say? Okay, well, here's some response. Well, I find some others. Here's Annapolina Luna talking about how people have had a general mixed response to these videos that they release. Most of them are just things floating around the sky. You could say it's a balloon or a drone or something conventional. And Annapolina Luna is pushing back, saying there's going to be more things that are released. And what I'll say is this: there are going to be more released. How do we know that? Because Matt Gaetz has already explained, described videos that he has seen that we clearly have not seen yet. So we know there's more and better videos than what we've already seen. So not only did we get a victory with anti-disclosure, because the alien people don't get anything, but we also got videos that could plausibly be plasma orbs flying around. Maybe not. I actually don't even really care about any of these videos, if I'm being perfectly honest. But we got that. And there are more videos that we are also going to see. Annapolina Luna, take it away. Take it away. We'll skip through part of this.
This is a world exclusive right here. So let's go to the first clip over the skies of the United Arab Emirates in June 2024. An inverted teardrop with a vertically linear trailing mass, as described by the War Department, suspended below. The War Department cannot say for sure what this is. It is officially listed as an unresolved UAP report. The next video, over the skies of Iraq.
Okay. So video one, just something flying along the surface. Cool. What else we got? Peter Ducey saved us some time here.
December 2022, moving bottom left to top right of the field of view.
Okay. I mean, that one, people are going to be able to plausibly explain that as a bird. Let's just be honest. Okay, what else we got?
All CENTCOM gets from this is an area of contrast. That's what they describe it as. It is officially still listed as an unresolved UAP report. Next video, over the skies of Greece, October 2023. What is described as a small and circular UAP flying near the surface of the ocean towards land. CENTCOM can't tell us what it is. It is officially listed as an unresolved UAP report. Within the last 2 minutes, all of these videos have gone live on war.gov.
I mean, I can't even see that one. So, I mean, this is like, you look at this and you realize they're clearly only releasing the worst ones. Like, they're like, okay, we got to release something. Shit, chat. We got to release something. Just release the grainiest, the ones that are the furthest away. Now, if I'm going to steel man the other side of the argument, the believer, the true believer side, then when I look at this, I say the military is going to know the difference between a balloon and something truly unidentified, or a bird and something truly unidentified. The whole point of their super advanced sensors is that they can distinguish between a freaking bird and a electromagnetic plasma object, right? That's the whole point. And this is the broader point, which is the government knows what this is. Maybe they don't know in every one of those cases what each one of those things is, but they know what's going on with these plasmas flying around in the sky. They know what that physics is. Their astrophysicists are meeting with Congress people, explaining it to them. The question you should have is, why isn't Hal Puthoff in front of a microphone going, hey, guys, you got us. We're releasing the plasma orb videos because, you know what? We figured out there's an extra dimension and we can kind of manipulate plasma in ways you didn't expect. Because they're liars.
/UFO, and a White House official tells Fox First, while past administrations sought to discredit or dissuade the American people, President Trump is focused on providing maximum transparency to the public, who can ultimately make up their own minds about the information contained in these files. And there's also a fresh look at some historical records. There's this from Apollo 17 included in this big document dump. One of the astronauts says, we've got a few very bright particles or fragments or something that go drifting by as we maneuver. The control center says, Roger, understood. Another astronaut says, there's a whole bunch of big ones on my window down there, just bright. It looks like the 4th of July out of Ron's window. Another astronaut says, Yes, now you can see some of them in shape. They're very jagged, angular fragments that are tumbling. This
I thought was interesting. One of the releases was this audio recording of these guys, of these astronauts talking, and they're saying when they look outside, you can see these lights. Looks like the 4th of July. You would think if you're in the vacuum of empty space, it should just be black, other than the stars that would be very visible further away. These guys are describing something they're seeing closer that are not stars. Now, what can explain this? Plasma. Plasma can explain this. Why? Well, how do you explain the northern lights? Because we are this giant ball of mass that's producing an electromagnetic field, and the electromagnetic fields of the sun, cosmic rays, are hitting our Earth. So you could imagine that we don't really see that interaction. It looks mostly invisible to us. But you can imagine in the upper atmosphere, maybe even in lower outer space, perhaps there's some ionization that's occurring where plasma is starting to self-organize into structures and could therefore look like little sparklers everywhere in the sky. Seems plausible to me. And this would also, in my opinion, if something like that were true, and so if it were true that there were these like little plasma micro objects that were forming, that were reflecting light in the sky in outer space, you could see how people would come to the natural conclusion that plasma might be able to develop consciousness, that some of these plasma objects might be able to be stable for long periods of time, where they might actually be able to inherit a soul or a consciousness or life as we experience it. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case, but I think that's a conclusion that would be defendable.
Exchange has long been dismissed as floating insulation. But now the White House is saying, while this photo has been previously released and discussed by keen observers, there is no consensus about the nature of the anomaly. And this all started, of course, because we asked the president about it in February.
Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know,
so aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. Well, he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it.
So the government is trying to answer the question, do aliens exist? And the answer is, they don't know, but in an effort of transparency, they are giving us all of the material that they are working with as they try to answer that question.
So this is where I step in and I say bullshit. Just like that missing plane. You're telling me you don't know where a missing jumbo jet Boeing 777, an American plane, it was just flying on its own for 8 hours and you got no idea where it went? Yeah, bullshit. Calling bullshit. And the fact that they're playing it like they don't know tells me it's them. That's how you play it. If it's you, you say, I don't know. Whoever smelt it, dealt it, chat. We just solved it. Whoever smelt it, dealt it. They know the age-old rule. Therefore, if you ask them who did it, say, hey, U.S. government, who dealt it? They say, I don't know. I don't know who farted. Stinks like shit in here. I don't know who farted. That's what they're doing. So until they show me some alien bodies, because here's the truth. It is a plausible explanation to claim that we got some alien craft crashed here or dug it up or whatever, and we got the alien technology and we figured it out. You could argue that. I'm not going to believe that because they've been lying to such an insane degree. I'm not going to believe that until they break out the alien bodies, until I can shake my hand with Ambassador Bijou of the Andromeda Galaxy. Then I'll believe the aliens are here. Now, part of the reason why I brought this up with respect to Marco Rubio is because we are going to fix this shit. We are going to fix this shit. I don't exactly know what the answer is, but we're going to get this technology out in a way that humans can benefit from it. It might mean that you all have to become digital slaves, and I put a brain chip in every single one of you personally. And if I have to do that, know that I take no joy in doing it, but I will as sure as shit do it to every single one of you who I think is a risk to anybody on this planet. Sorry, it is what it is. I want you to also notice how angry people seem to get when you tell them that there is an extra dimension, when you tell them that there is an ether. The closer you get to the truth, the more angry people get. But it should become obvious. And allow me to explain why real quick. 5 dimensions enables more than just wormholes. If you read Hal Puthoff's Space-Time Metric Engineering, the paper that's in the back of this right here, one of the things that you repeatedly see is the Miguel Alcubierre warp drive metric, bending space and time. You see that repeated over and over and over again. And if you can manipulate space-time, if I can shrink this distance here from our perspective, then you not only can tunnel and wormhole things, but that same effect applied on tiny scales can impact the orbit of electrons around atoms. So in essence, you can impact the atomic structure. You really could make the argument, as Salvatore Pais says, that you can engineer reality with this physics. This is why the letter to Ashton Forbes, anybody who wants to really understand what's going on, check out my YouTube channel. I think I have it like pinned on there. Diego Garcia Whistleblower, letter to Ashton Forbes. This is what they were trying to say. It's not that there's some magical wormhole technology. It's that there's an universal understanding of physics that allows for these plasma structures to exist that exhibit electromagnetic effects that that interact with space-time. And these plasma structures they produce are coherent. They're stable. That's why they can exist and not just dissipate and fall apart. Not only can they teleport stuff, they can also give us fusion. Fusion. In fact, this book repeatedly talks about using this plasma and fusion. I mean, this is it right here. Air breathing nuclear fusion, power and propulsion. Hold up, let me get the memes. My favorite part is that they underline all the people's names. And I know that he worked with Paul Sis because he mentioned St. Louis University, and that's where Paul Sis was the professor. Mentions working with Dr. Frank Mead, mentions working with George Miley, and working with Robert Boussard of EMC Squared as well. Literally says, I mean, let me just read this part. I'm just going to read this paragraph for you. So somewhat on my own, I began looking for ways to reduce NASP propellant. They were working on a fusion propulsion. Dr. Frank Mead, a visionary scientist who then headed much of the Air Force advanced propulsion research, was pursuing possibilities for more intense heating of hydrogen propellant other than by the usual way of mixing and burning it in oxygen or in air. So Franklin Mead was working on ways to not do what Elon Musk is doing, to not do what SpaceX is doing right now, to burn the oxygen, to burn the fuel that they bring on board. He says one possibility was intense heating of hydrogen by energy released from clean nuclear fusion of hydrogen and boron 11 nuclei. Proton boron 11 aneutronic fusion. Wow. Wow. Another energy. If you don't know why that's important, because all energy we produce right now uses the steam cycle, and aneutronic fusion just bypasses that and produces electricity directly, which you should ask yourself, why does that do that? And also, how does that connect to this 5D theory that we've been speaking about? Well, that's the topic for another night. Another was energy released from mutual annihilation of very small amounts of matter and antimatter, protons and antiprotons. I also received antimatter help from David Morgan and Steve Howe of Lawrence Livermore and Los Alamos National Laboratories. So this guy is getting help from Department of Energy nuclear engineers. And he got fusion propulsion help from Dr. George Miley at the University of Illinois and Dr. Robert Boussard of EMC Squared Company. Are you starting to see the connections now? If you've been following my content, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been following my content, I want you to go to your favorite AI and say, hey, Ashton was mentioning this book and these connections. Why is that significant? Go through his live streams and explain why that's significant. Because what you're going to find is we've basically created the web of these Black Project engineers who have built and worked on this space-time manipulation, fusion technology, all of this that they've developed for the United States government, for the CIA. And that's why we have it. One question I want to address real quick before we go to more of these clips. People will say, if we have this technology, why have we not taken over the world? Why did we not annihilate Iran? Why are we not in control of the planet? And I would say, bitch, what are there missiles dropping on your home right now? Because if you live in Iran, you are not safe. You are not safe anywhere. You are in America. You are safe anywhere, literally in America. They have no chance of hitting you anywhere. I feel like people have lost all perspective when it comes to how safe they are in this country. We do control the world. That's why we can just blast countries off the map, destroy all their leaders, every single one of their leaders. There's no retribution whatsoever. Not even their allies retaliate. And you would say, well, why don't we take over China or Russia? What do you mean? What do you mean take them over? Are we going to make them Americans? Or are we going to send all, this is a good idea. We're going to send all the Somalis from America, from Minnesota that you guys sent here. We're going to send them to China. And we're going to call it New America. Chinese New America. This will solve all the problems, bringing segregation back. Everyone can have their own country. Send them all back. We'll just call everything America. That way, you're always in America no matter where you are. So anyway, the reason why we don't take over all the countries is because it doesn't make any damn sense. It's not how the world works. You can't just take somebody over and be like, you're American now. And the reason why we don't take over Iran and break this out is because this technology is a last-ditch effort. The only way we're breaking this out is when Obama's got to flex his E-peen, right? Obama type shit, teleport a plane, or if there's an asteroid coming for Obama's house. If an asteroid just happened to be coming for Obama's house, then maybe Obama would have broken this technology out and made the asteroid teleport away or whatever, right? And can we stop asteroids? Absolutely. If you're afraid of a space rock hitting the planet, I'm sorry, you're primitive. So those are the reasons. Here's another video that I want to take a look at. Man, Hercules chat. Fucking Hercules chat. What's crazy is I don't get starstruck anymore. I've been doing this too long. But goddamn, Kevin Sorbo chat. I've seen every single episode of Hercules. multiple times. We used to watch Hercules and Xena at night, every night on the weekends after we were playing video games. Watch every episode. I loved how cheesy it was. I loved every single thing about it. I would do anything for Kevin Sorbo. If he needed this, I don't even know if he's gay, but if he needed this, I'd consider it. That's a joke, guys. Chill out. Calm down. It's an old Entourage joke. So anyway, what are we looking at here? So this is the video. Wait, is this the chandelier? I'm pretty sure this is the Lou Elizondo chandelier, guys. I don't know if it is or not. But so, like, I don't even know what's going on here. The only thing I find interesting about this is you can see a smoke trail coming out of this, right? So at least that's something. But the problem is there's no context. Like, what distance am I even looking at this object? Am I looking up? Am I looking down? Am I looking horizontal? Is that line in the background like the horizon? Is that a smoke trail? And then there's a weird flash here that happens, but I can't tell if this flash is like they're zooming in because all of a sudden something's different, or if like something actually happens here. Also, when I look at this, like, it looks like it's clearly a distortion of light, right? Like, it looks like you've zoomed in on a star is what this looks like. So it looks like a distortion of light, but I have no context to understand why there'd be a distortion of light like that. So I don't know if this is like maybe that's not the real shape of it. So this is probably one of the more interesting videos, I guess, out there. But ultimately, I can't really make any conclusions off of this. So this actually brings up a good point. If this is the most compelling video they've got out there and is this supposed to be aliens? Like, are we still talking about aliens? I'm kind of starting to agree with the demon people at this point. Because at this point, I'm not seeing any aliens, and this is looking not like aliens to me. This is starting. If you made me say something, I'd say, okay, we're looking at demons, I guess. Ghosts. I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's definitely not an alien, though. But go ahead and compare this. Like, this is the best footage we've got. You compare this, which I don't know what I'm supposed to believe from this. You could probably sell me any possible narrative based on this video. Versus the footage and the quality that we have in the MH370 videos. Wait, why is this taking so long to load? Versus this, where like you have the drone in view, where you can actually like see the drone right there. Part of the reason why you know this video is not fake is because of where it starts. A fake video would never start like showing the drone like this. And also, this is not a controlled release either. That somebody wanted you to have enough information to know this is a real video. That's what's probably so scary about these videos to the CIA, is because they were released with enough intent to prove that they're real. And this is what's made them so difficult for people to try to debunk, because they passed the uncanny valley test because they're real. So when you watch it, you're like, why is all this stuff happening the way that's happening? It's because the person revealing this wanted you to see exactly what you're seeing. They wanted you to know there's probably more footage than this, but they wanted you to see exactly this. They wanted you to see, yep, that's a drone right there. So can you imagine, like, look at the quality of the shit that they really have. They've got stuff like this. Real operations where we're breaking this technology out. We're unambiguously using this tech. And the best part, the thing I love about this video, which I thank the CIA every day for recording this. What idiots. I can't believe they recorded this. How stupid do you have to be to record this, dude? Like, there can be no copies of this if you do this shit. There can be no chance that this is going to leak on the internet. Like, you need to delete all the footage in real time. Maybe they did. Maybe that's how Edward Lynn got it. I don't know. But you look at this and you're like, holy shit, there's no way for them to deny that this is them. Like they're zooming in. Look how close this drone is to the plane. Look how close it is to the plane. They're like, my favorites when people are like, who's recording this, Ashton? Like, who the fuck do you think is recording this? That's an MQ-9 Reaper drone. That's an MQ-9 Reaper drone. So it's either the Air Force or the CIA. Those are the only two people that got that. You're like, holy shit. Look at this. They must hate these videos. They're out here releasing like dots flying around on the sky. Meanwhile, they've got 3 orbs connecting together. You can see the X-rays coming off these orbs. You wonder why they don't release any color videos. Because look at all the shit you can see. Look at how much more information you get when you see it in color. You can see these lines coming out in front of the orbs. It's like we were able to reverse engineer all their classified physics just from these videos. Just from one set of videos. Look at this shit. Look at that. I can't get over this part. You can count. You can see the door, and then you can see the air conditioning manifolds because the cooler or hotter air, I guess it's hotter air is being pumped through the air conditioning system. So that's why you see those like discolored lines. You can see the back door as well. You think somebody faked that? No one in a million years could ever fake that. Never. No one even knew what this FLIR stiff thing looked like in 2014. Anyway, okay. So, had to compare the footage that we just saw, which is, I don't know, some out of focus, blurry thingamajig, to some legit footage. Now, let me see what else I've got. I think I have one more. A couple more, maybe. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one. So this is at least a little bit interesting, I guess. Kind of up to you. I'll leave it up to you to decide. I love how when I post this, how confused people get. Like I post this image and people are like, that's not a real photo. Chat, if you thought this was a real photo, I'm really worried. I don't think we're gonna get that with the warp drives. If people are out here, there's like dozens of people in the comments posting how this isn't a real photo. I'm going, Jesus Christ, chat. What did I say that made you think that this was a real photo? My caption is, this story is pretty interesting, at least. Giant object materialized out of nowhere and then disappeared again. Yeah, it's just an artist rendering, guys. Just an artist rendering. It says, actual site photo with FBI, lab rendered graphic overlay depicting corroborating eyewitness reports from September 2023 of an apparent ellipsoid bronze metallic object materializing out of a bright light in the sky. 130 to 195 feet in length and disappearing instantaneously. Now, why do I like this? I think you know why. But look at it like this. Is this story real? I don't know. But I know it could be real. I know it could be real because I know that we do have physics exist that is consistent with that technology. And what I find interesting about it is that's pretty much what I think happened with MH370. That's what I think happened with MH370. So if we go to some post from earlier today, shout out to Jordan Crowder. I wasn't actually trying to come at him with this. This wasn't an attack on him in any way. I just wanted to react to all these different narratives that I saw were forming here. So Jordan Crowder says, remember, folks, spheres don't just float around aimlessly. Sometimes they suck entire planes full of people out of our dimension. I wonder if we'll ever get this level of disclosure. Now, these orbs are not aliens. They're not demons. And importantly, they're not sending this plane to another reality. We need to really get up to date on the physics on this one, guys. Look at the orientations of these heat signatures. Look at the orientations of those heat signatures on those orbs, chat. This is what we call phase aligned. Do you see how if you imagine each of the orbs moving into the other position, you can imagine the exact rotation that it would take to link up like that? That is very specific. And the reason why that's happening is because these orbs, they can lock in electromagnetically, but also their coherent movement, oscillation, connection can amplify their effects. They act as like little phased arrays. That's why there's more than one of them and not just one object doing these things. Let me see. What else did I say? Oh, yes. The other biggest part. So if you look at this image, you would say, okay, well, their electromagnetic fields are going to cancel out at the center. You say, okay, so nothing's going to happen. But if there's an extra dimension, there's now another variable to this equation. The Poynting vector is not 0 in the extra dimension. And what this means is that their alignment, their spin, everything you see these things doing before they zap this plane is relevant to the mechanism of what they're doing to wormhole, warp drive, teleport, railgun, whatever the hell you want to call it, the plane. The Poynting vector not being 0 means they're directing this plane through the hyperdimension. That's what this book says. That's also what this book says, how it works, by David Froning, Black Project engineer, who actually probably literally built these orbs. The other thing he points out, which I think is just relevant, I just want to bring it up. I'm going to read the back. Where was it? Which one? This part. Froning has made a monumentous discovery that equations for the speed of sound and the speed of light look alike and similarly modify a transversable medium, giving hope that faster than light travel is possible. Furthermore, with the help of Dr. Roach and others, their design of a teardrop-shaped toroid has been proven to be the best for distributing the leading and trailing directions of the physical vacuum of space in favorable ways. Hello to the future of warp drive. Wow. So, teardrop-shaped toroid. It turns out if you make a toroid, a donut, then you create this null point at the center. But if you create a teardrop-shaped toroid, which is elongated along one edge, so it's round on this side, and then it's kind of triangle shaped like this with a donut in the middle here, then theoretically, this might be the best way to cohere energy from the vacuum by creating an asymmetry. So what do I mean by this? They're making a waterfall in space-time. Space-time is normally flat and nothing's going on, and they're going, make a waterfall like this. They make a waterfall and they use that for propulsion. That's the basis of the reason behind the teardrop shape in the toroid, which makes me wonder if these plasma toroids might also be using a teardrop shape to cohere energy, therefore direct them around like that. Just wanted to bring that up. Now, I was going to save this, but we're just going to bring it up now. One question about the aliens that you should be wondering is, where are they? Where are the aliens? We got resources here. We got water here. We got good women's biologics that they can take. Why aren't they here? Why haven't they plundered us? Well, what's the answer? The answer is exactly what I've already been saying. 5 dimensions. I said these 5 dimensions allow us to do a whole bunch of things. One of them is warp drives, wormholes. One of them is fusion. There's another one. Free energy. Yes, you heard me right. Free energy. This source, space-time itself, is a source of energy. It's a potential of energy, like a balloon that's already filled up. You fill up this balloon, there's energy there to be released. It just hasn't been released yet. So we have this potential of energy that we can call upon. And now, over unity, energy systems that produce more energy out than you put into them now become theoretically possible. So free energy becomes a thing. Now, if we have free energy, if you can pull energy from the vacuum of space-time, you can transmute elements either for free or for very cheap. This means you can make a Star Trek replicator. At some point in the future, you could engineer a Star Trek replicator that's basically uses 0 energy to make anything that you want. So why don't we see the aliens? Why aren't the aliens here plundering our planet? Because they don't need our damn planet. Because once you get advanced enough, you have free energy. Now, the biggest concern isn't producing things. The biggest concern is your population and not destroying the universe. Because we got plenty of resources to go around. The problem is we don't want anyone destroying the entire universe. Because there's like a lot of beings in this universe. Okay. I think I got one more. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to rag on the woke disclosure people even a little bit more. Bring these back up. This is Jeremy Corbell's orb triangle video that he released, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, not that long ago. Okay. And I think it's crazy because he basically never spoke about it ever again after he revealed it. He revealed it, basically said nothing about it, didn't even try to defend it, and just let it go. And this is a video that, I mean, clearly the military had to have approved being released. Otherwise, I don't know how he released it, how he got it. I mean, this is clearly a military video. So I don't know what we're doing here. It's not a cell phone video or something like that. So I was already skeptical of his whole thing. But anyway, here we go. Wait, how do I start this? So I want to point out the triangle formation. Like, why are they linking together like that? It's just electromagnetism. It's something called it's not ultramagnetism. It's what did I call it? Oh man, I'm getting so confused now. But basically, this magnetic locking that occurs when you have 2 different polarities and they get within a certain range of one another. They get to an equilibrium position where they don't attract or repel anymore. And so this is why you're seeing these perfect triangle formations like this. And for the people that would say, well, Ashton, this kind of reminds me of the black triangle UFO, the TR-3B. Well, I couldn't agree more. I don't know how you can look at that and not think of that triangle UFO lore. And think about that. They called it the black triangle. Now, if you're looking at a black triangle at night in the sky, it's probably going to look just like that. And especially in like the 80s, 90s, people were looking at that, you would never have thought that that could be electromagnetic plasma that's connected together. You would never have thought that. Your mind would have looked at that and said, oh, there must be a craft there, a black craft that I just can't see. Which is why I think it's very possible that the reports of the TR-3B were literally just these plasma orbs in alignment like this. And we just didn't know because science hadn't caught up to what was really going on. But now we look at this and we go, and the other reason why I'm pretty sure these are plasma orbs. People trying to say they're birds, but you can see this fuzziness around them. And that's exactly what you're going to expect from plasma, because this high beta conditions is extremely good at confining plasma, but you're still going to have a fuzzy kind of edge. Like, you're going to have a clear boundary, but then you have a fuzzy, blurry area where there's like some ionization and a little bit of particle loss. And sure enough, that's what it looks like here. So yeah, when you see that fuzziness around them, now the one thing I've been looking for is the dark lines. If they are manipulating space-time, they're producing X-rays, then we should be able to see that, but we might have to be very close. Keep in mind, in the MH370 videos, we couldn't see the X-ray lines until we were really close to the orbs. From further away, they're not visible at all. So it would be really interesting if we start to see the X-ray lines in front of them. That would be a dead giveaway that we're looking at either a fusion reactor or some type of direct space-time manipulation effect happening. And what was mentioned when I read that paragraph of David Froning, it's not just fusion. Matter, antimatter annihilation. Why does that sound familiar? Because that is the virtual particles. The virtual particles are matter, antimatter pairs, particle pairs that are annihilating. These particle pairs are annihilating. So if you can control the quantum vacuum, you might be able to use that as your direct source of energy, where you don't even need the fusion. Maybe the fusion is just a byproduct. I have been saying that fusion will be producing anomalous energy because it's going to be tapping the quantum vacuum, but there's probably a dial in terms of how much fusion energy versus how much quantum vacuum energy you're getting out of that process, depending on how you engineer it. So this is why I say, if I'm right, we're going to get the nerfed version of fusion, which has basically no quantum vacuum energy extraction, which is barely over unity, instead of getting the super omega quantum vacuum energy extraction. So anyway, let me point out again, this is a triangle orb video, and suddenly no one wants to talk about triangle orb. At least the woke disclosure people don't want to talk about triangle orb videos. I'm pretty sure I talked about this video more than Jeremy Corbell talked about it, and he's the one that released it. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is everybody should be waiting around to see what bullshit Lou Elizondo's about to say. Lou Elizondo, this guy is probably very afraid of speaking and saying the wrong thing, because Lou Elizondo in his book specifically mentioned, and before he released his book like a year ago, he specifically was going on the podcast tour talking about how he had seen a 22-minute video that nobody else has seen. He can't talk about it. And so sure enough, he puts it in his book so that everybody will buy his book. And so everybody's super excited. Everybody wants to find out about this 22-minute book, or 22-minute video. What's it about? And where is it? I'm looking for it. Anyway, I'm looking for the exact paragraph for it. So I find it when they release it, and sure enough, it says in this video, it's a Predator drone that is being swarmed by 3 orbs of energy in a perfect equilateral triangle formation. That's what the 22-minute video is. So we know there's a 22-minute video out there that Lou Elizondo wrote about in his book of 3 orbs flying around in a triangle formation with a Predator drone recording it. And this guy is going to try to pretend like he doesn't know what's going on in this video of a Predator drone with 3 orbs in a perfect triangle formation, when his boss is basically the one who developed this physics, worked on this physics. Yeah, okay, buddy. Good luck with that. This is the problem with lying, even if you're lying for a noble cause like protecting national security, is that now we're like, bro, you can't gaslight us anymore. You can't come out now and be like, oh, yeah, wormholes are real, guys. Everybody should love wormholes. And I was like, but wasn't that guy Ashton like literally saying that your boss, the guy you worked with, was the one that developed all this? And now you're pretending that you weren't saying anything about this before, but now you're suddenly all about wormholes? You were trying to convince us it was all the aliens before. Now they don't want to talk about triangle formations anymore. Suddenly Lou Alzano never spoke about that book ever again. Nobody in the UFO community ever asked him about that video ever again. It's crazy, man. Okay. Let's see what else I got. And the reason why I brought that up was this video. By the way, I absolutely support everybody, sharing the videos, your content related to them. I'm glad that people were. I didn't expect everybody to be sharing the MH370 videos today. Tupacabra loves posting this one. The comparison between the 2013 Spain video almost looks like they were doing a test run, right, of these orbs flying around this plane in a triangle formation versus the MH370 videos. So there's actually several videos where there's some precedent that shows potentially this exact phenomenon. There's another video that I think was either to or from Atlanta that at the time everybody thought was fake, which might be fake. But it was some woman who sees some plasma orbs coming to the side of the plane, and they get into an alignment, and they just start spinning around like this. And she starts going, what the hell is that? And then they just like fly off independently. At the time, everyone's like, that's obviously fake. That's not real. No, that doesn't exist. And now we're like, Now we look back at that, we go, maybe. So, end of the day, point is this, guys. We don't need any more videos. We've already got the best videos that we're ever going to get in our entire lifetime. There's no way they're going to release anything better than the MH370 videos. That's as good as it gets. Corroborating evidence is great, especially when the government comes out and says, we don't have any alien stuff. We got a bunch of weird videos. We don't know what it is flying around in the sky. They know it's plasma, but we don't know what it is, because this corroborates. And the fact that Tim Burchett, I have one more thing by him. Where is it? Here we go. I was a little worried. I was a little worried that this was going to be all we were going to get. The phase 1 chat, by the way, if you didn't catch on, the phase 1 is totally tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, the phase 1 Epstein thing was a complete letdown, right? So I was a little worried that this was going to be the same kind of situation. But Tim Burchett says, remember, the feds told us these files didn't exist, and Donald Trump stood up to the deep state. The first drop will be big, but in comparison to what's coming, they will be a drop in the bucket. I would say, holy crap is coming. Chat. I hate doing it, but there is something I know. There's something I know that I can't say that might be relevant here. And I think something has happened, that these Congress people have been made aware that something like this is going down. I mean, obviously Tim Burchett has been, but now they've talked to, let's just say, the right people. And now the right information is starting to come out. And when they say, holy crap, we are definitely going to see orbs coming together, spinning around in a coherent system, maybe coming apart. And if we're lucky, unlikely, but if we're lucky, We might even see some kind of Zaporozhye, something literally just vanish out of the sky, if we're lucky. Probably not. But we'll take some plasma orbs either, because at the end of the day, this is all about getting the science and the physics out to you all so that you can understand and conceptualize what you're seeing. I have nothing against demons, angels, ghosts, spirits, aliens, or any of that crap. That's just not what's going on. And if you let the government deceive you, they will control your mind. They will control your mind, and they already have been. Absolutely guarantee it. Okay, let's see. What else do I have? I think that might be it for tonight, guys. Let me take a look at this. Oh, a little more physics here. Little physics for you, chat. Little wee bit of science for us on a Friday afternoon. I can't remember who linked this to me, but I thought this was quite interesting. Physicists create negative mass. And when you check this out, Washington State, physicists create negative mass. When you read about how they created the negative mass, they basically created, I think they created a Bose-Einstein condensate. They created a Bose-Einstein condensate. Actually, I think it was one of the debunkers that sent me this. They created a Bose-Einstein condensate, and what they say is that the negative mass is actually a negative pressure effect. And this is what negative mass is. People say, Ashton, you know, wormholes are possible, but they require Harry Potter magic. They require exotic matter. They require negative energy. Negative energy is a pressure force because gravity is a pressure force. This book literally lays that out too. This book is basically the new Bible, chat. Start praying to David Froning, the saint of David Froning. Gravity is a pressure force, so negative gravity, negative energy is also a pressure force. And so right here, it lays out what's the secret? Well, you create this Bose-Einstein condensate, and then it starts to behave like it has a negative mass. To create the negative mass, researchers applied a second set of lasers that kick the atoms back and forth, change the way they spin. It all has to do with torque and spin. Now, when the rubidiums rush out fast enough, it behaves if it has negative mass. When you push, it accelerates backwards. Boom. So you can imagine what are they doing to the plane in the orb videos? They're doing something analogous to this, where they're creating this coherent system and they're causing a snapback effect. But this snapback effect literally displaces the plane in space and time and ricochets it backwards. But it doesn't send it to another dimension like Jordan Crowder was saying, It sends it somewhere else on Earth. All points in our reality are connected. And what David Froning says is you're not going to go back in time with this. This is why we don't have paradoxes. This is why we don't see time loops in our reality. Because you can't go back in time with this. You can't change the entropy of the universe. But you can hop between 2 points. So you may ask, will this change the laws of physics? Not really. It will expand upon them. It causes us to look at the universe in a slightly broader way, but it doesn't cause us to redo the laws of physics. Einstein is actually more correct than he's wrong by far. It just means that Tesla was also right. And it means that the true reality, the next evolution of general relativity, is some mixture of electromagnetism and gravity, combining them together under one additional dimension. That is what true disclosure is all about. That's the thing that they've been hiding. They're not hiding aliens. They don't give a shit if aliens are real or not. They're hiding physics because of weaponization, because of socioeconomic impact, and because of the fact that they've literally brainwashed us to think that space is an empty vacuum when it's not. They brainwashed us so that we would never, ever think that free energy can be possible, and to ridicule anybody who would think that it could even maybe be possible. Okay, chat. That's what I got for us tonight. Oh, one more thing. So let's listen to this. David Grush, who I'm now quite interested in. Let's listen to his comments, because I think he's a serious guy. I think he's a no-nonsense guy that just wants to get the business done. He might be protecting national security, but he's not out there doing the podcast tour. He's not out there trying to sell aliens to people. And that's probably why Congressman Burleson hired him. So let's see what he's got to say. Let's at least listen. And by the way, like I said before, I want to talk and listen to the people that disagree. I want to talk and listen to the people that are the gatekeepers. I don't think we should be closing conversations down. I think we should be opening those conversations up. So if you're one of those people that thinks that Ashton won't want to talk to me, or Ashton would, eat me alive, if you're a debunker, I will. If you're an engineer, if you're a gatekeeper, I'll have a respectful conversation. I just want to understand the mindset of why we did this and why we've been hiding this and what the plan was. In fact, there's a page in this book. I keep thinking about this book where he lays out a plan for releasing this technology, where he has, is this right here? No. He has a plan for releasing this technology over like a 60-year period. And he says, oh, well, in like the 2040s, that's when we'll learn about how space-time manipulation works and field propulsion works. And I'm just reading this and I'm going, this is how woke disclosure thinks. The woke disclosure people think like this. They think, oh, we'll just control reality. We'll just decide when people are worthy of fusion propulsion and gravity manipulation. And like maybe in like 100 years, like we'll give it to them, maybe. And I just think of that. I go, are you out of your mind, dude? I was like, just give it to me now. Just give it to me right now. Here it is right here. I'll show it to you so you can tell it's real. Actually, great. This is David Froning. Preliminary milestones of interstellar initiative. This was his bold initiative. Develop clean fusion, which is aneutronic fusion, 2020. Make first expedition to Mars, 2030. Develop field propulsion science, gravity propulsion science, 2040. He wasn't going to have us get space-time manipulation until 2040, chat. That's 14 years from now. And we don't even have aneutronic fusion yet. It's 2026. These people are not going to give us the teleportation shit anytime in our lifetimes. Make first human outer planet expedition, 2060. Develop relativistic field propulsion, 2070. That's teleportation. Develop relativistic field propulsion. What you see them doing to MH370 in 2014, that's what he's saying we should wait till 2070 to roll that out. That's a 60-year gap, according to the guy that probably developed it. And then finally in 2080, we'll launch an interstellar probe to a nearby star. And then by the year 2100, we'll have a human expedition. A human will teleport. Chat, we have to take back this power from these people. We have to take this power back, because I'm tired of being ruled over by people making decisions about how our lives, my life should play out. Are we even free if every action, every part of our existence has already been pre-planned out for us? I would rather die a free man than live my entire life as a slave. I don't know about you, but that's my belief. That's my political stance. Let's listen to David Grush.
What you're saying is we are on the cusp of getting a lot more details that deal with actual alien beings, however you're going to describe them.
That's certainly up to the president's team, and I certainly support them. But it has come to my attention, actually, recently, as of today, there are some actors within certain intelligence agencies, to include DIA and CIA specifically, that are actually blocking some of the president's presidentially appointed team and getting access and getting control on some of these historical records. So I really expect the undersecretary.
Historical records being blocked by the CIA. Well, chat. Oh. Those FOIA requests. I got stacks, baby. We got stacks. We got stacks on stacks on stacks of CIA FOIA. Every single one of these is a FOIA rejection by the CIA. Every single one for national security glamour response. Interesting. So when people say, a lot of people, I think there's one person that's in my comments, I was going, why are you still Ashton, why are you still blaming this on the CIA? Guys, who do you think has this technology if not the CIA? People are like, the breakaway civilization. Who the fuck is that? You think the CIA is not aware of a secret group of people that have super advanced technology? It all goes back to the CIA. It's definitely the CIA. Now, are they working with other people, other interests, individuals, companies? Yes. Of course, they're open about that. But this all goes back to the CIA. That's the ringleader of this. And that perfectly aligns with this whole UFO cover-up thing. Because this is what that's all really about.
Defense for Intelligence and Security, Bradley Hansel, to take care of that, as some of that's under his cognizance, especially on the national program side, which is directly under his organization, to reveal some of the historical National Security Council records on this.
What you're saying is we are on the cusp of getting a lot more details that deal with actual alien beings, however you're going to describe them.
That's certainly up to the president's team, and I certainly support them. But it has come to my attention, actually, recently, as of today, there are some actors within certain intelligence agencies, to include DIA and CIA specifically, that are actually blocking some of the president's presidentially appointed team and getting access and getting control on some of these historical records.
Whoops, I skipped through some of that. Okay, so I don't know why these guys are all obsessed with aliens. My take on it is this. I think there's a decent chance there really is an alien component to this. I don't know what that means, but because why? Because I keep saying, guys, the most plausible truth is that everybody's telling the truth, that everybody's telling the truth of what their understanding is. And these guys are out here saying, we got bodies, we got alien bodies, we got videos of them. Okay, sure. I'll believe it. Present the evidence. But that's not the thing. The thing is, I don't think David Grush wants wormhole technology revealed. The line is very clear to me. This is my opinion, but I think I'm right. I've been right about a lot related to this. They're fine with me explaining the science and physics, making the David Fronings of the world, who were previously unknown, into famous historical figures, because these are the people who deserve the real credit, right? They're fine with that. They like that we're doing that because they were friends with this guy. What they're not fine with is our adversaries learning this knowledge, our adversaries learning how to engineer this plasma orb technology. I think that's where the line is. That's the rub here. And that's the reason why David Grush has never reached out. Why Congressman Burleson's office has never reached out, even though David Grush works under him. He's got my direct phone number if he ever wants to reach out. It's not that they don't know. It's not that they think those videos are fake. It's that they know those videos are real, and they know they have to protect national security by covering it up. And to me, that's a lot murkier. Because now it says the people that are supposedly exposing the deep state, they're kind of shaking their hand behind the scenes. They're kind of saying, don't worry, we won't totally expose you. We won't totally expose you because it would also expose us too. That's pretty much what they're saying. Because if we expose you, deep state, it'll expose us too. So we can't really expose it all. So if this isn't what's going on, I'm sorry. But that's the impression I get, is that there's a clear line. And the line is, we can talk about aliens. We can talk about aliens. We can talk about, oh, there's weird stuff floating around. We don't know what it is. But we can't talk about, hey, there's an extra dimension, and this extra dimension allows us to perfectly control fusion and quantum entanglement and have plasma orbs that can electromagnetically manipulate space-time. I mean, that's all true, but we're not going to talk about any of that. That seems like what's going on to me, chat. Let's go to some of the super chats, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Awesome show today. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Hope you guys got a lot of info. I've had a bunch of people reach out to talk, so we're going to be doing some collaborations. Got some stuff coming up tomorrow. Can't wait to get a haircut. It's going to be great. Thank you guys in the Pilled chat. Woke Not Walked. Oh, man, there's the chat. You guys went crazy. I can't even keep up with the raid. Thank you, everybody who's checking out the Pilled chat. You guys are awesome. Rumble chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. We have been expanding on Rumble, not Yoda, Doubleums. Thank you guys. A Dutch Rumbler. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you guys are learning something today. And most importantly, I hope you guys are learning to think for yourselves. What I keep telling people is that the whole point of this stream is not for you to believe me, listen to me and what I tell you. It's to listen to the evidence I'm telling you. Read the books, the papers that I'm telling you to read. If you read them, I guarantee you are going to come to the same conclusion. And it's a little bit sad because I think ultimately the UFO community has been parroting this narrative that 2027, it's all going to be revealed. And I think what they're saying is that as AI has been rolling out, AI has made it easier and easier for normal people like you or I to digest information like this, where we can have AI give us the context of stuff we don't understand. We can have AI find the papers that we want to review and explain these concepts in ways that are easier for us to grasp. It makes the information and suppression of this knowledge a lot more difficult. Whereas someone like me now, who I pretty much use AI as like how I used to use Google, I can now use that to become super knowledgeable in a very, very short period of time. This is what I think they're afraid of, is that as people absorb this knowledge, read the dirds, they're afraid that they won't be able to hide this anymore because people will become empowered themselves. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, thank you guys. ZPE Disclosure, my boy. Literally number 2 GOAT ZPE influencer right after me. ZPE Disclosure. And this is the big rub. Disclosure is not about aliens and UFOs. It's about 0-point energy. It's about the ether. It's about this extra dimension. Call it whatever you want to call it. We're bringing the ether back. They try to ridicule it. Because when they ridicule it, you won't think about it. You won't think about, doesn't that kind of explain the things in physics that we don't understand? That's why they ridicule. XLX Squee, Rubio for president. I'm voting Rubio 100%. 100%. And if Rubio needs me as whatever czar, we can make up a position, UFO czar, guy that zaps woke people to the moon czar. Hook me up, brother. Hook me up. I'll do whatever it takes. I will literally be the guy that never leaves the office, and all I do is tag the next woke person for teleportation. We're going to have a moon colony up there. They're going to love it up there. They're going to have all the anime they want to jerk off to. They're going to have video games and Marvel movies. They'll be able to cry to all the Supergirl trailers they want. It'll be a very humane thing for them up there on the moon. If you don't understand the context, they're going to harvest our helium-3 that helium energy will use to produce our aneutron fusion. So it will be a symbiotic relationship. It's going to be great. Chaotic Good, thank you very much for that donation. Says, I said from the very beginning, this seems more like a witness protection program than anything else. They would be making a much bigger deal about this if they didn't know where he was. General McCaslin, right? It does feel like a witness protection thing. Like, how is Tom DeLonge not mentioning the missing general? Not even bringing him up. Is he not worried about him? If I was Tom DeLonge, look at it like this. If Salvatore Pais suddenly went missing, I would be freaking the fuck out, chat. I would be crashing out on social media and going live every single night, crashing out about where the hell is Salvatore Pais. General McCaslin disappears. Tom DeLonge is like, what's for lunch? My lead UFO advisor that told me that the Cold War never stopped just disappeared off the face of the earth, and Tom DeLonge isn't even afraid. He's either got giant balls or he's pretty confident that the general's safe. I got to be honest, I kind of feel like the general might be alive. It's crazy to think that a dude that's been disappeared for 6 months is somehow still alive. But maybe he just fled the country and he's in a safe house somewhere. Because reality is when this stuff starts to come out, like, heads are going to roll. People are going to want vengeance. Eric Weinstein is out there saying, like, I don't believe the military industrial complex could hide this. I don't believe that academia has the last at the table. Like, this guy's head's going to explode. Eric Weinstein's head's going to explode. When Eric Weinstein realizes that he's not at the top of the pecking order, that he's actually at the bottom, this dude's ego is going to implode upon itself. Blows me away. Sorry. Okay, let's keep going. We can travel forwards in time, but not backwards. Now, here's the thing, too. Yeah, it is weird. It was like, why is this restriction? Well, the restriction exists because otherwise we would break causality. So basically, this was what John Kramer was saying, is that most likely the physicists thought that nature would prevent retrocausality. This doesn't mean you can't go backwards in time. Backwards in time is still possible because time is just an illusion. If I go from here to over here, I've gone forwards in time. If I go back, now I've gone backwards in time. But time didn't really go backwards, right? But I did go backwards. So what do I mean by this? I mean, in theory, you could reverse a tumor. A tumor is a growth that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you reverse it, you could reverse that time. Reverse that. So in theory, you could reverse aging. So time travel is possible in the sense that you can reverse aging. But time travel is not possible in the sense that you can reverse the entropy of the universe. So you're not going to be able to unwind the universe, but you can unwind something locally, like a tumor. So that's how I would think about the time travel. So if you are traveling in this hyperspace dimension, either you're going to appear instantaneously or there'll be a delay. Bump, bump. Got it? Either or. Bump, bump. Easy to understand. Now you guys get it. Now you're all PhD physicists, smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's official. You have been preordained. Vineyards 00. Chat. What does this say? Apologies for the numbers in my name. That's fine. I thought this was a Vineyards Vines thing. Anyway, apologies for numbers in my names. I purchased a custom name plaque in your honor, which I will put in my San Jose bar. Shit, chat. I got to go to this San Jose bar. Dr. Friedwart Winterberg, Director of Nuclear Fusion and Plasma, University of Reno, Nevada. Hell yeah. Dr. Friedwart Winterberg, negative mass propulsion. Also, Dr. Friedwart Winterberg, polyhedral configuration of nuclear weapons. So you say, Ashton, where did they come up with this triangle formation? How did they even figure that out? It's because that's how what they were doing with thermonuclear weapons. They were using plasma to trigger a fusion bomb, and they found out the most efficient way to do that is to collapse it on all sides equally. And when they were doing that, they also accidentally figured out that's also the optimal way to manipulate space-time. And they were like, oh, shit. And so then they covered that all up. And we stopped doing nuclear weapons testing, because if we kept doing nuclear weapons testing, everybody would have figured it out instead of just us, instead of the public. There you go. So thank you very much for that, Vineyards. I appreciate it. Bar T Welding, Matt Bartleson. I think this is our Braveheart moment, chat. This really is our Braveheart moment. And I think we are going to be alive, most of us, long enough to see it. And the ones that aren't alive long enough to see it, well, don't worry. We'll live up to your name. We'll make you proud. We'll make you proud. I guarantee you that. Quigs. Why not talk to Eddie? He changed his name because of you. I am going to get Edward Lynn's case file, chat. I'm going to get his case file. I'm coming back for it. I attacked his case file too broadly before. I'm going to attack every single component of his case file individually, and I'm going to battle it in court. That's the way that we reveal this. We know the guy that leaked the videos. It's Edward C. Lynn, now Edward Soraya. So let's just stop playing around. Edward Lynn, just do me a solid and just admit you leaked those videos. Because otherwise, I got to get your case file, and I know that case file is going to have corroborating stuff in it that proves that you're the guy that leaked those videos, got those videos out. So don't make me do this the hard way. Just do it the easy way. I mean, honestly, that's the way we do this, right? Like, we do it by the book. We get the guy that leaked the videos to come out, and then everything just unravels into the weight of the evidence. Zapparoo, fantastic as always. You've always had the physics and inception of MH370. The only other date point left is Maxar's file showing the denouncement over Diego Garcia, Zap and Zapparaya. You guys want to know something? A couple years ago, I met with somebody who is a wealthy political donor, private meeting. And they basically ran down all the public satellite companies. One of them's called Blackwater or something like that, Black something. And then the other one is Maxar. There's like 2 or 3 of them. And like, I remember the conversation because they were like telling me we got to keep our voices down. We were in this public place, right? And they're telling me I got to keep our voices down, going over this information with me. And I always think back to that in terms of like why that person wanted to meet with me, and if there might be information in those commercial satellite companies. Because the reality is, if you had a satellite that was looking down, you probably caught at least some of what was going on with that plane or with those orbs or where that plane showed up. And they most likely, the United States most likely had to leverage any of the commercial satellite companies, make sure there was no videos, footage, anything out there. So I don't know, just a fun story for you guys on a Friday. Timothy Foster, thank you. Discernment is a must for these technologies to thrive and to be understood. This is what our group possess. Truth is true. We put forth a conscientious effort. Chat, the reason why I've been successful, the reason why this community has been successful comes down to one and only one thing. Honesty. Transparency. That's it. That's all there is to it. If you come at the topic truthfully with your own true opinions that aren't being fed to you with no ulterior motives, people will be attracted to it, especially if it's true, because people will see the information you are presenting and they will see there is merit to it, and then they will listen. That is how this movement has built, from literally a grassroots movement of a few random people on Twitter to hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Honestly, pat yourselves on the back. You guys deserve this as much as me. So thank you, Timothy Foster, for that. Rex Geisler says $20 super sticker. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate that. Steaks tonight, it sounds like. XLX Squeeze says, hell yes. Thank you very much. Jaleel Robinson, another great show. You guys are awesome. I hope you guys have a great night. There's going to be more content coming out, multiple interviews dropping in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be breaking down the science and the facts for the world. And let's see how this goes. We may have a generational run coming up in us here, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Love you guys. Peace out, MH370X. Later.
In the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos, our future's here.